If someone doesn't know, it's an expensive hobby. Anything you can do yourself, do it. That is the only fish that I know of that I've never heard anyone talk about eating a shrimp. Looks nothing like it did a month ago. You don't know what you're going to get from one change to the next. I'm Danny Griffin from Terrell, Texas. Welcome to my fish room. These are my aquariums.
So here's the room. You got all these cool decals and memorabilia here.
Like I said, this is my room of the house. Everything else belongs to a girlfriend.
And right now you got, so it's like 240s, 320s, and those look like 5.5 to 10s?
Maybe 7s, I don't remember. They had another filters on them. I took the filters off, redid the filter systems on them.
This is my favorite tank over here, so let's start with this side over here.
Okay.
Just your moss tank.
That's just moss.
Caradinas
basically
in there.
Just moss. Caradinas in this
King
tank.
Kongs, shadow pandas.
Shadow pandas. There's a bunch of babies in there. I noticed last night, right, if you look down in there pretty close, you'll see some babies.
Oh,
There's one of them right there.
We'd have to get Andrew to get the macro to get those. Yeah, what kind of moss is this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I got it at a plant swap. Threw some of it in, and it's just gone crazy.
Looks like you run the same filters in every single tank.
I do.
Can you explain your filter system here?
I like the mat and filters, corner filters. I build them all myself. I don't use air pumps. I use a small electric pump with PVC. You don't have the noise, you don't have the bubbles breaking the surface, making a mess out of everything.
Okay, so what I'm seeing down there looks like either like a 5-watt pump from Amazon.
It was the smallest pump I could find on Amazon for these 2 tanks.
They usually come like in a 2-pack for like 10, 12 bucks.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear the noise through there.
It's dead silent.
These are the noisiest filters I've got in this whole room. That's another reason I don't like the air pumps. They're too noisy.
And they splash everywhere.
And they splash.
Like all these would have been like all
There's
wet.
water everywhere. When that bubble come up on the surface and pop, it goes everywhere.
So where did you get this piece?
Amazon.
Amazon, okay. And then you cut PVC there.
I cut the PVC, I cut the glass, I cut everything myself. I do all the filters, everything on them myself.
Let's move on to this tank right here. It looks like you have, what is it, tangerine tigers?
Tangerine tigers and green jades in this tank.
A lot of people don't mix shrimp a lot, but...
Well, the tangerine tigers are a Caridina. They will not crossbreed. So if someone didn't know, so it doesn't bother me, that's what I like about them. I can add a little bit of color to the green
without
jades
having to crossbreed.
without having to crossbreed, end up with a bunch of cold shrimp.
So that's another question. You're mixing Caridina and Neo-Caridina. Do you have a problem with that at all?
Not in this tank. Now, if you mix some of the other Caridinas, you would have a problem. These guys are pretty hardy, and there's a few more varieties of the Caridinas that are hardy that can live in the same conditions as the Neo.
Yeah, you're probably the only one that I've seen doing this like pretty successfully. And let's talk about your water here in Texas, because we are Texas.
The water's a mess.
The water's a mess.
You don't know what you're going to get. I use RO water. You don't know what you're going to get from one change to the next. RO water, especially with a shrimp tank, it's the only way that you can do it and know what you've got.
And what kind of mineralizer are you using?
I use salty shrimp.
Salty shrimp,
B in here. Salty shrimp, just B. I'm going more for the Caridinas than the Neos. The Neos will adapt to anything.
Yeah, like the Caridinas are a little bit more.
The Caridinas, if you get your perimeters for the Caridinas, the Neos will live in it too.
Okay, such a beautiful tank. Like you said, build all your stands.
I built all the stands.
Look at this
every one of them.
This one, and we'll talk about Snoopy's later.
Yeah, well, she had a bunch of them, so I come up with the idea. I said, hey, do door handles.
This was
do
your
my pool.
side of the
well,
house.
yeah, but that's the only reason I get this room. I got some Snoopies in here.
This tank right here, the 40-gallon, you got a fluval planted? Or is it just fluval?
Fluval 3.0 planted.
Oh, 3.0, dang.
I do a split cycle on this. 6 o'clock in the morning, off at 10, and then 6 o'clock at night, and off at 10.
Oh, so you do what they call a siesta.
A split cycle, siesta, split cycle, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Wow, so 6 to 10, so 4 hours, and another 4 hours later.
Exactly. The plants like it.
The plants like it. There's no algae.
No.
Looks great. No CO2.
No CO2. I had CO2 in most of my tanks at one time. If you run out of CO2 or something happens, you can get algae overnight. It's a mess.
I hate balancing the
Between the dosing, balancing everything.
But
None of these tanks are dosed either. I don't dose any of my tanks.
You don't dose any of the tanks?
No dosing.
So I'm guessing it's all the substrate.
It's the substrate.
Because that looks like soil. Can you explain
It is.
to me
That
what
is mineralized topsoil. I take it out of my organic garden, put it in the aquarium, and top it with Complete. Mineralized topsoil's been in the sun. It's dried out, got wet, dried out, got wet. It's real fine.
Okay.
And it's full of minerals.
Okay.
This tank's never had any dosing on it, and the heavy root feeders love it.
Yeah, you can tell because, well, you got the tiger lotus here.
Yep. Madagascar there.
The moss are just beautiful. Look at all that moss. I'm going to have to ask them for some of that. And which one is that one?
I got that at a plant club meeting. I had one piece of it. I've got it in several tanks around here, and it's done pretty well for me.
Yeah, so if anybody could identify that for us, let me know, because that also looks like a Vietnam. What is that plant right there? The one with the green?
Got it at a plant meeting. I separated this plant right here. It's all for that plant.
Oh, yeah.
I took it out, cut it in half, and planted it back. This one's doing pretty good, but this one's really fixing to take off. It's got growth fixing. I'm fixing to have a lot of plants on that one. It's coming up everywhere in there.
That looks really good. And then he does have heaters.
I have heaters on some of the tanks. This one I've got a heater on. I keep it at 76.
All right, next tank. First you can see is all the pink flamingo, but tell us about this tank.
Looks nothing like it did a month ago or even a few weeks ago. I had a little bit of algae and I dosed it with hydrogen peroxide. Story learned. Don't ever dose too much hydrogen peroxide.
Did you do a mix of hydrogen and water?
I just used hydrogen peroxide in a syringe. I put it right in front of the outflow here, and it blew all over the tank. And when it did, these tiger lotuses were almost up to the surface and spread everywhere. I don't have it in many tanks because it grows too quick and it can get out of hand pretty fast.
And these shrimp are
Those are blue dreams.
Yeah. I see a fish. It's a zebra otto.
A fish?
A zebra autocinclus.
Oh, yeah. I've got a couple of them. And I've got some of them scattered around some of my tanks. That is the only fish that I know of that I've never heard anyone talk about eating a shrimp. It's the autocinclus.
Autocinclus. Yeah, they're more algae eaters.
Every other fish, people say they won't eat them, but they will. If it'll fit in their mouth, they'll eat them, but I've never seen those touch a shrimp. I've got them in several tanks around here. I don't know what all tanks are in.
Okay. I spotted a plant here that we talked about earlier, but not on camera. His red moss. Was that red moss? Have you ever seen red moss before? I haven't.
It was pretty expensive when I bought it. Spread it around to a plant club and it came back to me last year. It's actually called red algae.
Not a lot of surface agitation, so you got a lot of gases up here. Everything seems to be doing well, though.
When I started off with plant tanks, I killed more plants than most people probably ever buy. I just found what worked for me. And when I found it, that's what I went with.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're doing it.
Some plants, it's funny because my water perimeters are the same between a lot of these tanks. This one, that one, this one, and this one. And they all grow plants differently. Maybe different mineralized topsoils between them from different times in the garden. But other than that, everything's the same.
That's interesting. Maybe because, I don't know, just what we call a trophic cascade, what I learned in my last video is like you put something different in, like let's say this mermaid here.
Yeah.
It sucks in nutrients differently and outputs something. I mean,
even though it's the same water, everything works different.
Okay.
Maybe it's the bioload in the tanks.
Yeah, bioload can be a huge thing. Yeah. All right. Next up is this. You can tell that's your favorite plant there. Tiger lotus is his favorite lotus.
Well, tiger lotus. I like tiger lotus too.
Yeah.
They add a little splash of color.
Lots of red moss, but the main attraction of this tank, I think, is the Sulawesi.
Golden back yellow you see there, I had a few in another tank. The tank was kind of crashing on me, so I said, well, I'll throw them in here with the Sulawesis. Water perimeter is quite a bit different from what I had been keeping them in, but they made a comeback. I've got a couple buried ones in there right now, and there's more shrimp than what you're seeing of the yellow ones.
Yeah, I see them in like, the grasses there and everything. But,
but
once again, you've mixed another combination of shrimp successfully.
Neos will live in anything,
Yeah.
I believe. And they're doing so well in this tank and another tank I've got under the Sulawesi 7.5. I think I'm going to switch most of my tanks over to Sulawesi 7.5, except the Carabiner tanks, and start doing the rest of my Neos with the 7.5 Sulawesi.
Okay.
To change the perimeters a little bit.
Let's dive into more of how you keep Sulawesis, because not a lot of people can keep Sulawesis.
Most people don't know much about them. They take a high pH.
High pH.
They sell a remineralizer. They've got several on the market. They've got a Sulawesi 7.5 and Sulawesi 8.5.
Okay.
The 7.5 dissolves pretty easy. The 8.5 is a pain to dissolve.
Okay, so you don't use that.
It's pretty tough. I use it, but I use you can dissolve it with CO2. But for what I found out, what works for me better is I've got a soda stream, and I'll do a liter of water and put it in a 5-gallon bucket with my 8.5, and it will dissolve it. Not all of it, but it will dissolve enough of it to get the pH and the TDS where I want it to be.
Okay.
But for someone just starting out, wants Sulawesi, if they'll go with the right ones, the 7.5 will dissolve almost instantly.
Temperature, you told me you keep them in higher temperatures.
Temperature, the Sulawesi's like 82. I keep mine at 82. They like it between 80 and 84. Some people even say 86.
84, wow.
I keep mine at 82. It's a mix in there so the Neos don't get stressed out too much. The Neos would live in it. The only thing about the heat with the Neos, it does cut their life cycle down.
Yeah, I bet.
They
Do you see them-
metabolize, their metabolism and stuff speeds up. They'll breed quick, but it does cut down on the life cycle.
Okay. I mean, you got assassin snails in here. Did you ever have a snail problem before?
I've got more snail problem right now than I've ever had in any of my tanks. I got a hitchhiked in on a plant, and I've got snails in all my tanks, but they're so small, I can't hardly get rid of them.
Yeah,
they're so small, the Sulawesi, the assassins won't even touch them.
Oh, they won't?
No.
So they're probably just eating whatever food you put in there.
They're getting some of it.
They're getting something. Real quick here, what are you using for your light braces here?
I bought a conduit bender. This is an expensive hobby. If someone doesn't know, it's an expensive hobby. Anything you can do yourself, do it. That's why I build my own filters, cut my own glass, make my own light fixture stand, my brackets for my own lights. I experimented with where to put the lights for the algae control. If you put it right on the bottom, you're going to have a lot of algae. You're going to have the light so low you won't see anything.
All right, let's move on to this 40-gallon here.
What's
the smell?
This red rally pink. And again, a lot of plants. I like plants. The shrimp love the plants. You can't get too many plants with shrimp.
Yeah. You're more of a plant keeper than a shrimp keeper, right? Because you like gardening and everything.
I like both. I like both. At one time, it was more about the shrimp, then it was more about the plants. Now I try to find a balance between the two.
Do you do much water changes? Like how often?
I do them every weekend.
Every weekend? Okay.
I didn't do them this past weekend because I was wanting to change to 7.5 in some tanks, and I didn't want y'all to get in here to a bunch of dead shrimp if something went wrong.
Oh, so you're messing around with the pH now.
I'm going to.
Why do such a thing?
Because they seem to be doing so good in the Sulawesi tanks. The Neocaradinas are doing so good.
How do you plan to implement that?
10% water change, and I've got a pump that I've built a dial on so I can dial it real low. So if I take 4 gallons out of here and I want to put it back in, I can take 24 hours to put it back in if I want to do a drip acclimation for them.
Are you going to move some Rilis to other tanks just in case?
No, I won't move any of them. They won't, even if some of them, I don't think anything will happen.
Yeah. You just trust the process, right?
Yeah. If I just took and dumped 5 gallons in there, yeah, I would probably have a massive die-off.
Yeah.
Maybe even of plants. I don't know.
That looks like such a big pest snail because even if you try to get them all out individually,
Yeah.
it will take forever.
With the harder water, their shell is so hard, you can't even smash them on the glass. Some of them are like a rock.
All right, my favorite tank here, because it looks like it's been set up for quite a while.
It is my oldest tank.
Your oldest tank. It has my favorite fish in there, the celestial pearl Daniels or Galaxy rasboras. It has a healthy wall of probably Christmas moss.
Whatever moss it is, it's in every tank I've got. It's the same moss.
That's weird because if it's in that same tank over there, that's super scraggly.
It just grown. This is so compact. I've just pushed it back and cut it back 3 days ago. Pushed it way back. It was all the way almost to the front of the tank. It was choking all this out. I had to take this up and replant it because it was choking it out. So I pushed it back some more. And sometimes I'll take and pull it up back behind there. It's all dead back behind there. There's nothing there. It can't get any light. But it grows back pretty quick. I've taken a bunch of it out before, and it'll grow back pretty quick.
And what kind of shrimp are in here?
That's cold tank. It's just whatever comes out of the other tanks, I put in there. I give them to people if they're setting up a tank, and they're wanting to get some shrimp from me or something. I'll usually try to get them. Take some of these first. I'll give it to them and tell them, when they get done with them, to feed them to their fish or whatever, because I don't want them back after they've been in someone else's tank. But just to see if their tank is ready for shrimp before buying shrimp. You don't want to just buy shrimp and have them die on you, especially if it's a new tank. And some people don't realize it takes a while to cycle a tank to put shrimp in it.
Tell me the story of this one guppy here.
I had a tank. We moved in this house. We had a 40-gallon tank, and I bought some guppies. We had hundreds, if not thousands. I finally got rid of them. I kept a few of them that was colorful. That guppy is probably 5 or 6 years old. He's just living his best life right now.
Whoa, there's so many CPDs back here. How many do you think you have back here?
What's that?
Because do you think they're spawning, the Galaxy rasboras?
Oh, yeah, they're probably spawning. I never see any babies. They probably eat them before they get out there. And they may be spawning. I don't know.
How many did you put in here originally?
20?
There's definitely more than 20.
Oh,
There's
is there
got
a
to be
bunch
like
of? I never
40
looked
or
back
something
there.
in here. Yeah, there's so many back here. What's your favorite tank in here?
In this room, probably this one.
This one?
In this room. I like the tangerine tigers. I like the way it's planted.
You got more tanks out there.
Let's
go check them out.
Got several more.
And before we stop by there, look at that. That's a lot of Snoopy.
That's a lot of Snoopy. That's why I get to have this.
All right, what is this?
All the Snoopy.
First thing I noticed is the giant volcanic rock there
Yeah.
that you told me about. You got another one over there. You got it for pretty cheap, and these things can be pretty expensive. All right, this one's a Sulawesi tank. Pretty bare in terms of plants. You got Bisophilandra, you got Bulbitis, and Pinnatifida. Tell us more about this tank.
Okay. The Sulawesi, you got to be careful with them. They don't like a lot of pH swings. So you put a lot of plants, you have a lot of pH swings between night and day. Even without the CO2, which there's no CO2, they like a higher pH. This one, I'm using a Sulawesi 8.5.
So RO water,
RO water,
8.5, 82 degrees.
82 degrees. This is my newest tank. This tank's been set up for probably 6 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe.
This was the only one with the lid. Actually,
I've got 2 with a lid. The evaporation with the heater
oh yeah.
and the movement of the water on
Got a
top
heater up
on
there.
these, and in the summertime, especially with fans going, I'll easily put 3 gallons of water in this tank a week for evaporation. It kills your TDS, messes up the water perimeter, so I put tops on a few of my tanks with the Sulawesi's in there just to cut down on it.
Because that's a lot of money you got.
It's a lot of money. They're not cheap.
Yeah, they're not
if you
cheap.
can find them, and you can't find them very often.
Did you get these at your local club?
No, I got them different places. There was 2 of them in here that was buried, and I haven't seen them I haven't seen them today or yesterday, so chances are there's babies in that tank, but won't see them for another week or maybe even 2. Now that plant we were talking about in there a while ago,
Oh, this one's
that's the same plant.
Wait,
That green
this
one that's in that tank.
Well, this one.
That
okay.
plant. That's the same plant that's in there. I actually just put that one in there yesterday.
Okay.
I took it out of this tank. That's the same.
That is pretty.
That's the same plant.
Look at that plant.
It just grows different in this tank than it does in that tank. If someone's got something with the flowers on it like this, and it's growing out of the water, if you will take a Q-tip, and when it gets up, take that Q-tip and run along there, and it'll fertilize that plant, and it will turn to seeds, and they'll turn green, drop down into substrate, and when they do, they'll just start growing everywhere.
So that's how you propagate Madagascar lace.
Propagate it, yep.
Okay.
That's how I've done it, and it's worked pretty good. I've got, like I said, there's one right there I just took out of a tank.
So once again, you have a combination of Sulawesi's and
Blue Dreams.
Blue Dreams, so the Neocardinas. Wow.
The Neocardinas, usually this tank, I sell a lot of shrimp out of this tank. The Neos, I'll sell them 300 at a time.
Wow. I mean, yeah. It looks like you have
200 at a time.
200.
200 at a time. And there's probably a couple hundred in there again now. You don't realize how many there are till you start catching them. And there's more than you think there is.
And you never had a crash in this one from...
No.
You're going to start a movement, I'm telling you.
They do better in this tank than they do in the other tank in there, but it's my Blue Dream tank. So I'm going to do an experiment. We'll find out. Oh, I'm photogenic. I like having my picture taken.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, thank you so much. Make sure you guys check out DFW APC.
DFW APC, Dallas Fort Worth Aquatic Plant Club. There's no charge to join the club. You can get a lot of plants. You can get enough plants in one meeting to fill up a tank.
All right, well, thank you to DFW APC, and thank you to you for showing us your cool aquarium room. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, y'all have a good one.